Sorry, I think I've lost the tape a bit there. But I was saying, I've got an idea, right? You know how there's a lot of, in the mirror, again I'll say it, there's all these people living in tents, they're homeless people, and there's Britain shame, and there's lots of homeless people living in Britain and stuff, and they're well, trying to live in Britain, but they're not living very well, because the homeless have got nowhere to live, right? And I'm against charity, I'm 100% against charity. I hate charity. But consider this. Millionaire rock stars, right? Rock stars who've got millions of pounds. For example, you could use your money to help the people and make money for yourself as well. Without charity. I'll give you an example, right? I said it on the last film, I think I missed it on the last film. Paul Young, right? He was a pop star. Sang a song, living in the heart of the common people. Da 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 da, family man. Living in the heart of the common people. Right, Paul, instead of charity, all this fucking red nose day, big nose day, what else do you have? You have your fucking children eat, all that shite. Instead of all that crap, right, instead of that, set up a foundation. If you've got any money left, I think you might have some money left from that song. But set up a foundation, not charity, because you're not asking for money. You're giving away, right? You set up a foundation and you say, all right, there's a lot of people who are having to rely, apparently in the news I've read, there's a lot of people relying on food banks, aren't there? In the year 2019, Paul. Paul Young, right, in the year 2019, there are a lot of people who are relying on food banks, aren't there? Who have to go to one of these charity things that they give away food, tinned food and shit, because people can't afford to feed their families. Right, what you do is you set up a foundation, right? And you give away free food. You give away free food without anyone paying for it. But then you play your song. And people can get food, and then they think, oh, instead of buying a lottery ticket, you'll buy a record. You know? But you can do it like that. But you got money in it. What are you spending money on? But anyway, yeah, right, Paul McCartney, right? Beatles, yeah? Still going strong? I think Paul and Ringo are still alive, good. It's 2020 next year, Paul. Paul McCartney. 2020 next year. 2020 vision? Yeah, well, are you a bit short-sighted or something? We all. I am. But I'm just saying there's sort of lots we can do in the world. There's like loads of homeless people in the world, for instance, right? So how about sort of like millionaires could set up their own foundations, for instance. You could have a yellow submarine in Liverpool, for instance. There are a lot of homeless people in Liverpool. Paul McCartney, right? Paul McCartney, right? I'm taking the piss. There are a lot of people homeless in Liverpool, apparently, aren't there? Yeah. So why don't you and Ringo set up a shelter for the homeless? A yellow submarine shelter, perhaps? Paul? For Paul and Ringo. Why don't you set up, use the money from the Beatles? Because every day the Beatles are making money, Paul. How much money have the Beatles made, Paul? In the last 50 years or whatever. How much money have the fucking Beatles made, yeah? So why don't you set up something like you get homes for the homeless. You buy a derelict building. You buy a derelict building with the Beatles' money, right? Paul McCartney. You could buy a factory building in Liverpool or something. Maybe something by the docks or whatever. I don't know, anywhere in Liverpool. You could buy, Paul, you could buy a big building in Liverpool, couldn't you? A big empty building maybe a factory block. And what you do, Paul, is you turn the factory block into apartments, yeah? It's literally like flats. So you turn the factory into apartment buildings, comfy apartment buildings with toilets and stuff. And what you do is you invite the homeless. You say to the homeless, right, here are my apartments. Come and live here. Yeah? Apparently, I think up north, probably more than anywhere else, there are a lot of empty factory buildings, aren't there? Yes? How about turning the factory buildings into apartments? And you could stylise them, couldn't you? Yeah? Give the homeless somewhere to live. And you let the homeless live there for free. You see, you let the homeless live in your factory, which you've turned into an apartment or whatever, and you let the homeless people live there for free, and you call it the Yellow Submarine or something, or give it a title from a Beatles song. You know, you could get yourselves fucking big forever. You wouldn't need charity, man, if you used your own money, Paul. How much does in fact, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, right? Here's a good one for the Beatles, right? For the Beatles specifically, right? Let's start that one. Apparently there's homeless people on the streets of Liverpool as well. Right, so start from Liverpool then. Because that's where you're starting from. Because you start from the Cavern, Liverpool, yeah? Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, billionaires, probably. Multi-millionaires. Too much money to know what to do with, probably. Alright then, what I'm saying is, right, there's a lot of empty factories or something probably around the dock area of Liverpool, actually. I would imagine there's probably quite a lot in fact, all over the north, there's probably lots of empty factories. How about for the rock stars of the world, for the rock stars of England, if you're still about, if anyone remembers you. Here's a good one. Most rock stars most rock stars who are famous and are millionaires, right? Okay, I've got a good idea. My idea. You're millionaires, yeah? You're millionaires, right? Okay. Right, you bought everything you want with your money, haven't you? But you want to stay famous, so you do charity shit. Crap. I hate charity. I fucking hate charity. This is not about fucking charity. I hate charity. Okay? Here's my idea. Rock stars come from different towns across Britain. British rock stars, the British rock stars. Oasis, I believe, come from Manchester, don't you? Manchester. You have a lot of poverty and a lot of hardship in Manchester, don't you? A lot of unemployed in Manchester. Oasis. How much money have you earned? You're quite big in Manchester, aren't you? You're from Manchester. How many other Happy Mondays, I think, were from Manchester too. I think perhaps Happy Mondays might have been from Manchester too. I'm not quite sure. But I tell you one thing. For the rock stars of the world with billions and millions of quid, right? But nobody remembers who you are. I said, but nobody remembers who you are. In every town, in every city of Britain, for the rock stars who used to be famous. I don't know where the Smiths come from, but they were quite famous. Madness come from Camden Town. So you can take Madness can look after London. A challenge for you. 2020 vision. This is my 2020 vision. Every rock star, every rock group, go back to your hometown. Start from your hometown. Use your own money. Do not beg on anybody. Use your own money and build your own companies, like shelters for the homeless, for instance. In fact, not shelters, flats and apartments for the homeless. A lot of the north is factory towns that have gone out of business. A lot of the north is factory towns that have gone out of business. My challenge for the rock stars who used to be famous, for the pop stars who used to be famous, use your own money. Go home, if you have a home. If you're lucky enough to have a home, go back to your hometown and help the homeless. My challenge is 2019. I have not got the resources, obviously, I'm a poor man. 2019. Every fucking rock group who was ever famous, go home. Yeah, rock stars go home. My challenge. You go home to your hometown where you were born and you have got lots of money and you spend your money helping the homeless. Priority number 1. First priority. Your only priority is to help the homeless, to house the homeless. And use the rock stars to do it. You're famous once. You got millions of pounds. Well, then house all the homeless with your money. Let's get everybody a home by the year 2020. Before the year 2020. In Britain, at least. Let's make sure everybody has a home first. Priority number 1. Make sure everybody has a home. For all the rock groups in Britain, at least. House the homeless in Britain. A challenge for all rock groups. You can even call it the Smiths' house, wherever the Smiths come from. In Liverpool, you could have the Beatles' house. You can play Beatle music and make more money, getting yourself more famous. A challenge for all the rock stars in the world, actually. A challenge for all the rock stars in the world, actually. Go home. I challenge every rock star to go home. How much money do you have in your pocket? House the homeless by the year 2000. You could have the McCartney house for the homeless. You can even name them after yourselves, sort of thing. Turn all the derelict factories into homes for the homeless. Easy thing to do. Fucking easy. I could do it myself if I could. It'd be easy to house all the homeless without charity, with no charity, by the year 2020. Get the rock stars to go home to their own bloody towns and tell them to house every homeless person in that town with your own money, using your own fucking money. Not by begging on charity, not by Band-Aid, not by Band-Aid, not by Children Aid, not by any fucking Red Nose fucking Day. My challenge, every rock star, go home, use your own money and house all the homeless by the year 2020. Before the year 2020. I challenge the rock stars to go home. You could name the buildings after yourselves, like you could have Kiss Avenue or the Kiss Hotel in America, couldn't you? Huh? Do you remember Kiss? A big American group. Buy a warehouse or something, Kiss, in New York or wherever the homeless people are. My idea for Kiss, for instance. But Buy a big fucking